ठीक है, चलो. So, welcome to this lecture, which will be the concluding part of the velocity saturation effects. And as I had already mentioned in our previous lecture, that the velocity saturation effects are extremely important when we are going into the nanotechnology regime. Okay, so in our previous lecture, we had already investigated, like what is the order which we are essentially looking into. If you notice that the moment we are going into the sub-micron technology, remember in our last lecture, we said that this factor here, okay, yeah, should be greater than mu n VDS by VDR sat for uh, to be like this uh, for long channel approximation. Okay, so that is something which we have to keep in mind, because all the existing theory, whichever you have learned throughout this entire course, and basically your entire MTech, entire BTech, they are all under this long channel approximation, which technically is completely untrue for the modern technology nodes. So in our last lecture, I have even shown right in front of your eyes that if I take the standard value of mu n, VDS, and VDR sat, you are essentially getting L in the order of 1 micron. So that means the moment we are going into the submicron technology, even 180 nanometers, okay, so that is 0.18 micron. So even then, we should consider this velocity saturation effects. Okay, but that still doesn't matter so much. But for example, in today's lecture, we will see how things are completely different at this regime. Okay, and that is the reason why you will notice that we are essentially moving into the 3D architecture. So that will become clearer to us. Why FinFETs? Okay, so let me just, I mean, I could have simply written in today's lecture, like instead of velocity saturation effects, why 3D architecture, why Omega Gate, why FinFETs and all that. Okay, so before we go into FinFETs, we should understand the fundamental limitations of the standard planar technology. Okay, so before we begin with the concluding part, so what I shall do is I'll just go through what we have studied until now, because this is some topic which you will not find anywhere. Mostly in the textbooks, you won't find this. Okay, so we began with the fundamental velocity saturation relationship. This is a previous lecture. Please note this. So we began with the velocity saturation relationship, and we figured that for n equal to 2, we are essentially referring to the electrons. With n equal to 1, we are referring to the holes. Okay, and for simplicity's sake, we were investigating for n equal to 1. Otherwise, we have to consider this. This can also be done, but that it will be too much. That will be at the PhD level. Let's not bother about it. Okay, so now what was the approach? We started with a simple drift equation for the currents, and essentially what I did was, instead of putting VDR equal to mu and F, okay, mobility into the field, which was valid for, as I had depicted using this green color here, the drift velocity was proportional to the field. That was the ohmic region when the fields applied in the devices were lower than the critical field, right? So that was basically the fundamental assumption for all the modeling approaches which we have seen until now, or whatever you have seen everywhere. Most of the textbook, they deal with that regime only. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, instead of putting this root over and this square term, like ideally I should do that, but I'm essentially doing for the holes, let us say, or the equation for the whole. And then I have simply replaced capital F by minus VDX, which makes sense. And FC is something which we had seen that it is going to be a constant for the material, right? Okay, and then I did some algebra. And finally, I figured that the current under the velocity saturation takes this kind of a form. Very clearly, if L is much greater than mu and VDS by VDR sat, this is something we will elaborate on this. Much greater than means how much, we will essentially see it at the end of today's lecture. So once we are observing this here, just to, it's a sanity check. हम ये कर रहे हैं क्या ये completely different है whatever we have learned, or you should always keep in mind that when we are learning a new theory, does it mean that all the previous theory are all nonsense? We are wasting our time? Absolutely wrong. Absolutely not. Okay. For example, when you are learning quantum mechanics, it doesn't mean that nonsense. Not at all like that. Okay. So all we have to keep in mind is that classical mechanics is kind of a special case of the quantum theory. Okay. Relativity is a special case of the quantum theory. So something like that. Okay. So similarly, here is the same situation here. Okay. What we will drive at towards the end of today's lecture is that whatever you have studied, long channel, non-channel devices is a special case of this overall complete of the current which we are going to look over here. So in the current equations and the models which we are developing right now with the velocity inclusive of the velocity saturation effects, we will notice that the equations will boil down to finally the long channel approximations after a certain set of approximations. So for as a sanity check, which I have just shown here, L is much greater than this, then you will notice that we can effectively ignore this first bracket over here. I'm highlighting in this case. We're left with the standard equation. Cool. Now, what is more important than this, as we will see in today's lecture later on, is as we essentially scale the technology node in the nanoelectronic regime, it will turn out, I mean, your devices always remain in saturation. Okay, this ohmic region equation, whatever we have drawn over here, will be almost gone. Okay, more about it later. I'm not making any physical statements here. We will understand it through equations itself. Okay. All right. So this is something which we have done in the previous lecture. Now, if that is true, if my previous statement that if we are scaling the technology node, the devices will almost invariably operate in the saturation region. Okay, so what are the implications on the circuit designs? That is also something which we will see now. So what we did was we are essentially interested in to find the expressions of the pinch off voltage, that saturation VDS, okay, VDSAT, and we will look into the IDSAT, okay. So in for the VDSAT, what we did clearly, saturation region means the currents will be constant after reaching pinch off. So what we have done is del ID del VDS is equal to 0. Cool. So then I have just simply put the derivation. I mean, kind of, we took the derivatives and all, and we finally reached this equation. But this equation doesn't give you a physical understanding of what is going on over here. So I simply used again high school mathematics, okay, to use a square minus b square formula, and essentially I reached this equation in our last lecture. Okay, so from our previous lecture, um, I'll be taking this equation and this equation here. Okay, and then we will proceed further. So this is where I'll begin with today's part. So these are the two equations which I have copied from our previous lecture. Okay, and now we'll begin with this. So I mean, VDSAT is already derived in our previous lecture. Now my objective will be to find the IDSAT. Okay, so this derivation is kind of complicated. Just stay with me because the final results will be kind of eye-opening for everybody. Okay. All right. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to put this ID VDSAT, this VDSAT in wherever I find VDS. So VDS is here, here, and here, right? So I'll just put the VDSAT in these three. I mean, I'll replace VDS by VDSAT expression. Okay. So this numerator, this denominator basically gets multiplied with ID over here. Now id into 1 plus mu n id sat. I'll replace id with id sat now. Okay, id sat by lvdr sat into vd sat. Understood, everybody? Is equal to this mu n cox. All I've done is vds I have multiplied. Instead of vds I have written vd sat. Very simple. Now all I'll be doing is wherever I find vd sat, I'll replace by this big equation. Okay, twice vov by m and this. Okay, everywhere. Here it is a square, so it is twice 2 square vov square by m square over here divided by 1 plus this whole square. Okay, then is equal to mu n cox w by l as usual. Notice that there is an m by 2 here, m by 2. Okay, this m by 2. So this m by 2. So small m and this m square cancels. 2 and this 2 square cancels. Okay, so you are left with twice VOV square by m. Here is also twice VOV square by m. So I'll take 2 VOV square by m outside. ठीक है everybody? Mu n COS W by L twice VOV square by m twice VOV square by m बाहर निकालें. Then again this 1 plus root over 1 plus mu n LVDR sat twice VOV by m इसका स्क्वायर है. यहाँ पर भी the same expression is there. I am putting it in the curly brackets. Okay, so this entire curly bracket is outside. It's again common. So you can notice like this twice VOV square by m by this whole factor is essentially common in both the terms. So you are left with 1 minus 1 upon this. Cool. Okay, so अभी हम लोग क्या करेंगे? देखो यहाँ पर what I'm noticing now, this is the left hand side. Okay, let me use a highlighter. So this is the left hand side and this is the right hand side. Okay. Now if you notice that left hand side has this denominator, right hand side also has this denominator. However, this id side doesn't have the denominator. So what I shall do is I'll simply multiply id side by this denominator here and get rid of this problem. Okay, so if you notice that this curly bracket is now here, just follow this curly brackets so that you understand where that factor is going. id sat into this plus the rest of the term is mu and id sat by lvdr sat into twice vov by m. Okay, similarly here what is going to be the situation? This is here. Okay, this factor is now gone because I multiplied this, and over here I have simply multiplied this third bracket, this second bracket over here, and this 1. So 1 plus this minus 1. So 1 and 1 cancels out. Okay, just bear with me. See, I could have simply shown the results. Then there is we always kind of funnily, like jokingly, we used to discuss, we used to tell among ourselves, you know only the relations, you know the formulas, okay, but you do not know how it came about. You never understand that thing. So if you can show it mathematically, nobody can ever question you. Your understanding is like perfect. Okay, because for example, the way I teach here, you will notice that these are all mathematical reality. Okay, so nobody can refute your theory. So this 1 and 1 cancels. Now notice what I will be doing now is that we are having this factor. This is the factor. But I want to ensure that this is in an easier way. So all I will do is notice here and here. I'm simply multiplying numerator and denominator by the same factor with a -1. Again, I'm going to use a square minus b square. Okay. Rest of the terms, this is here. And over here, -1 and +1 has cancelled. So as you can see, this and this term and this term are the same. I've just copied it. In fact, literally I copied it. I simply used this tool, copied and pasted. I did not waste time on writing it again. Okay, so now if I'm essentially making a multiplication of this, you are going to get a square minus b square. So this is a root, so that becomes 1 plus this minus 1 divided by this. Okay, again 1 and 1 minus 1 will cancel. So now let us look at it. What is in the numerator here? Mu n LVDR sat twice VOV by n. This is how much? Mu n by LVDR sat twice VOV by n into ID sat, and here is an ID sat. So what I'll do, simple, I'll just take this whole factor outside. Okay, they're the same things, so I'll take it outside. So you are left with, the numerator is gone, so the denominator still remains here, plus 1, because this is now outside the bracket, right? And on the right hand side remains as it is. But what is interesting is, look at this factor, this is twice VOV by m, and on the right hand side you had got twice VOV square by m. Okay, so what I shall do is I'll cancel and we'll be left with only VOV. Okay, thereafter mu n ID sat by LVDR sat, then this is gone, then this factor is how much? 1 plus this entire denominator gets in the numerator like this. Again, this -1 and +1 will cancel. Okay, and on the right hand side, what are we doing? We are doing nothing. We are just carrying over this equation just like that. So finally, when we are cancelling -1 and +1, notice that this factor and the right hand side factor are the same. Okay, so if I cancel them, and also what we will notice is there is a mu n here, there is a mu n there, there is an L here, there is an L there as well. Okay, so that's what I have cancelled here. Notice we are cancelling out the capital L. Okay, so what is the implication of that? That means now the currents are becoming independent of the channel length. My God, think about it. So, okay, now what we are doing is ID sat as usual. This VDR sat, I'll pull it on the right hand side. So what you are left with? This VOV, this W, COX, okay, VDR sat, VOV. All the rest of the terms are cancelled except that this left hand side, I'll just put it in the numerator on the right hand side. Okay, so this is essentially the final expression for the current. In our last lecture, I simply wrote that equation, but I thought I anyway have to go to the interpretation, physical interpretation of these. So I thought I will postpone the derivation for today. Now, let us get back to what we already know. This seems to be very complicated, right? For the long channel device, where L equal to infinity, let us say, very large, IDSAT was essentially this equation. How is that even remotely related to this is our next concern. So our special case is number one. Okay, before I go into that, is there any query from anybody? Because as of now, I mean, we have just done some mathematics, right? There should not be any. But the physical interpretation part, I expect all of you to bombard me with questions, please. I want you to question me whatever you want, because this is something new. Now, as I said, this mathematics is all right. This is the final equation. And from here, we are going to derive or understand or interpret our many physical concepts when we are dealing with short channel devices. Okay. For the long channel case, I have again copied the original VDSAT, again derived in the previous lecture. So I've just copied this equation here. All I'm going to do is I'll simply put L tends to infinity over here. So under the limit, when L is tending towards infinity, notice that this factor L tends to infinity. So this whole factor, which I have highlighted using the yellow, that is essentially going to be 0. Okay. So what is the situation? Twice VOV by twice M. Twice VOV by um, I should write it here. Twice VOV by M. Okay. Yeah. Previously there was a mistake. Okay. So this factor will go to 0. So it will become just this. So VOV by M is something which we have already seen. Now again, for long channel devices, we have already seen that small m is very close to 1. So VDSAT equal to VOV, VGS minus VT. Okay, are you able to connect the dots now? So when you are essentially speaking about the VLSI design course, you have always been using VDSAT, VDS equal to VGS minus VT. That is valid only for very large channel devices when small m equal to 1. And when we are going into submicron technology, nanoelectronic technology, in those cases, it's this factor. Now let us understand for the IDSAT, which is even more important. Again, as usual, I have just copied this equation over here. Now I will apply the limit L tends to infinity. Okay, think about it. So here, if limit L tends to infinity, then notice that these two factors, this one and this one, definitely these two factors will essentially become much less compared to 1. So if I expand this uh, square root in binomial theorem, or let us say Taylor's expansion, power series expansion, whichever way, and we will neglect the higher order terms, you will be left with 1 plus this whole thing to the power half will essentially become half into this. The higher order terms I have neglected. This is Taylor's expansion. All of you know this. Okay. So once I have done this, notice this 1 and this minus 1 will cancel. So this is the half I am essentially talking about. That has come because L is infinity. So this entire circles which I have shown here are much less compared to uh, sorry, compared to this one. Okay. So 1 and minus 1 will cancel. Then what is the situation here? WCOX VDR-SAT VOV, again coming from this prefactor of this IDSAT expression, into half of this one divided by this whole denominator. So 1 plus 1 is 2 and this. Now we do not have any problem. Earlier it was becoming uh, problematic because we had L on numerator and denominator. So here now is 2 plus this. Okay. So if I put L equal to infinity, so this factor goes to 0. Okay. What are you left with? Notice this 2 and 2 will cancel. VDR sat will cancel. Okay. And you are left with mu n. Notice this is not there. Okay. This is not there. You are having one 2 over here. So mu n Cox, mu n Cox. Here is the W and here is the L. Mu n Cox W by L. Here is the VOV and here is the VOV. So that is VOV square. Here is a small m, here is a small m, and there is the 2. So that becomes 2. This is amazing, right? So what I'm trying to drive at is that this is the total expression when you are considering the short channel effects into the picture. When you are bringing the um, highly scaled nanoelectronic devices, when you are bringing into the picture. So when we are talking about 65 nanometer, 90 nanometer, 45 nanometer, okay, then this is the equation. These are the two equations which you should always keep in mind. So what we realize is the entire theory, whatever you are accustomed with, is simply like the classical approximation of quantum mechanics. Similarly, here it is a long channel approximation of the total theory which we are essentially looking into. Okay, so now you are at a much better way of looking at the devices, because right now you have got one divya drishti, so to speak, so that you can understand that all the long channel equations, all the long channel theory whichever you have studied is only the limiting case when L equal to infinity. Okay, very good. So this is the special case of the long channel device. Okay. Now let us come to a new technology altogether, that is the ballistic transport. Okay. So this is one extreme, that is the L equal to infinity. This is the other extreme. What will happen when L becomes very close to 0? Now, first of all, L equal to, what are the kind of, as I said previously, like what are the standard doping levels? We used to say 1 ppm, right? 10 power 16 per centimeter cube. So similarly, what is the standard level of capital L? So when can we say that we are going into the short channel and scaling theory? Okay, that is essentially defined in our previous lecture. Like uh, you have seen, right? So that was around 1 micrometer, 1.03 or something we calculated. So around 1 micrometer. So if it is around 1 micrometer, so that is the standard channel length which we are looking for. Standard channel length means the moment we have the device effective channel length greater than 1 micrometer, we will call it as the microelectronic technology. Nicely. But the moment we are going to channel lengths less than 1 micrometer, we can call it as submicron technology. When it is going below 100 nanometers, that means zero point 0.1 micrometer and below, we call it as the nanotechnology. So that means you can understand like 180 nanometers. Okay, it is obviously greater than 100 nanometer, right? That is 0 0.1 micron. That means it is not particularly in the nanoelectronic regime, but it is definitely in the submicron technology. Okay, so any channel lengths which are greater than or in the order of 1 micrometer, we will call it as the special case capital L tends to infinity. So the standard theories are applicable. So as I said, this velocity saturation regime is beyond the scope of this syllabus because the syllabus comprises only of these kind of relations. So microelectronic technology. Your VLSI design is about microelectronic technology. Okay. But I thought I would not do justice to you guys if I do not go into the nanoelectronics. So that is the reason why I'm explaining all this. Okay. So so when L is greater than or in the order of micron, okay, then we call it as a long channel approximation. Okay, very good. Now when it is less than 1 micrometer but greater than 100 nanometers, we call it as a submicron technology. So submicron technology is essentially, you will find this this kind of, these equations will hold. These equations are for submicron technology. 180 nanometers will also, you are supposed to use this. Okay, so now we are going into um, the situation where it is lower than 10 nanometers. Uh, now this situation is going to be questions. Yeah, Akash, please tell me.
Sir, can we put m is equal to 1 in long channel?
L equal to?
M is equal to 1.
Yes, yes, but m equal to 1 will be for the long channel, means specifically when it is larger than 1 micron.
Okay.
Okay, then you can essentially micrometer microelectronic technology. But small m, it's kind of, you should not put small m equal to 1 if you're going into 180 nanometers or something, submicron technology.
Okay. Okay.
So in the submicron technology, you are supposed to, you can use VOV by m, okay, but as and when we are going to 100 nanometers, you definitely cannot use this. You have to use this one only. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now we are looking into the situation of 10 nanometers and below. Okay. Let's say 20 nanometers and below. थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा. 14 nanometer, 16 nanometer. जहाँ FinFETs की ज़रूरत है. Like you know, like the current technology is FinFETs. But now we will try to understand why FinFETs. Because FinFETs are definitely way more difficult to fabricate. It's a 3D device compared to the standard MOSFETs, planar technology, which you have studied in your IC fabrication. By the way, in IC fabrication, you have done the 3D architecture, 3D structures fabrication. What are you doing in IC fab right now?
Sir, diffusion and ion implementations, not yet
Okay,
done with the 3D architectures.
3D applications you have not done, right? So if you notice that for my, again the same thing, IC fab is also, fabrication is also about microelectronic technology. Okay, so the moment we are talking about this situation, then the situation becomes like seriously out of hand. Okay, let us understand that. So here I have done L is much greater than that particular factor. Okay, mu n, VDR sat by mu n, this all this around 1 micrometer and above. So when I'm speaking about L tends to 0, all I will do is, instead of putting limit L tends to infinity, I'll put limit L tends to 0. Now, what is the concept of ballistic transport? Has anyone heard about it? Read about it, heard about it, discussed about it anywhere in your BTech, MTech, anywhere?
Sir,
Anybody?
yes, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, I have heard like it's
Vuna.
a yes, sir.
Hmm.
Ballistic transport is like a straight path. If we consider any other paths like for drift current or diffusion current,
Correct.
we can't say that the electrons move in a straight path. There will be a zigzag movement.
Very good. Excellent. Why there is will be a zigzag moment? Anybody can explain. Mimangshu, anybody?
So as you said in the velocity saturation, velocity saturation in the related to mobility, the
Very
graph
good.
that you have shown,
Excellent. Excellent.
it's due
So
to high scatterings.
high
Uh,
scattering. Very good.
yeah.
So Vuna and all full marks. So notice what is going to happen here. If you are allowing a large device like this, so the probability that the electron, so this is the source, this is the drain. Okay, this is the channel region. Okay, the probability that these electrons will meet up, or basically encounter is a better word, encounter some of the other electrons or some other phonons or some other mostly ions in the path between the source and the drain will be high. I know, because the electrons are traversing more amount of space. So basically, if it is, let us say, 250 nanometer technology node, so this is the channel. So there is a high probability that the electrons will get scattered, right? So what will happen here is that if it is getting scattered, then the average drift velocity will always be limited by the VDR sat. So that is what we will be saying, that the sorry, what is this maximum? The maximum value of the VDR sat, that is the average I have specifically written because it is always a statistical probability, right? Because remember, suppose the electron hits another electron or some ion over here, then its path gets scattered. So from here, it is getting scattered until this path. Then it again meets another ion over here and it gets scattered. So in between this scattering, this is the region where we call the mean free path. Okay, so in this free path, why are we calling it free? Because it is not undergoing any kind of friction or scattering or any kind of deterrent factors. So what will happen? The electrons are simply getting accelerated. Okay, so once it is, I mean, the easiest way to look at this picture is that the electrons will get scattered. The moment it gets scattered, it again starts with the initial velocity u equal to 0 and simply gets into u is equal to 0 plus acceleration into the time. Okay, this is simple Newtonian motion. Okay, velocity. So this 0 ko hatao. So basically you are having some acceleration into the time. What is the acceleration? You are, remember, you have applied one VDS voltage, right? So there is one field along the x direction. Okay, but this field is for unit positive charge, right? So what I shall do is I'll multiply it by the electronic charge here. Of course, there will be a negative here, but let's ignore that. That negative will essentially determine the direction of the field. So if the field is here, it is plus, this is minus, the electron will be moving in the opposite direction. Okay, so the field is plus to minus, so the field is in this direction. The electrons are essentially moving towards the left to the right. Okay, so I am ignoring that minus sign over here. There will be one minus q, so I'm ignoring that minus sign. I'm just considering not the direction, I'm just considering only the magnitude. So q into f will give us the force on the electron divided by the mass of the electron, but this mass is of course not the rest mass, it's the effective mass because it is going through the solid state material, right? So this is what, this is the acceleration into the time. Okay, so now understand that this mean free path is basically getting accelerated, right? Now suppose instead of this 250 nanometer, this mean free path from here to here is in the order of, let us say, 5 nanometers. Okay, so if it is 5 nanometers and now I am going to make a device which is like 5 nanometers now. This is the source and the drain. So what is the situation? The electron can come out from the source and get injected into the channel, minority carrier injection. It will basically reach drain without any scattering at all, because within this small region of the channel, 5 nanometer channel, there it is probable that there is not even a single ion which can essentially scatter this electron. So what is the situation? As Vuna had rightly said, Mimangshu and many of you have got the idea. What will happen? There is no reason to have any limit on the VDR sat. Yeah, VDR sat, what was the cause of this VDR sat? the saturation drift velocity had a limit, right? That is the maximum velocity that electrons can flow inside the semiconductor, right? So that maximum velocity was essentially limited by the scattering phenomenon. In the ballistic transport, there is no scattering at all. Okay? Just say, for example, when we say, for example, I have a car, and my car, that SUV which I have, that SUV is like, its maximum speed is 250 kilometers per hour. Okay. Now, can I use this 250 kilometers per hour in, let us say, in the Patni area? Like those of you who are in Hyderabad, Patni is basically one of the very important junctions. It's simply impossible, right? You have, let us say, a Ferrari whose maximum speed is like 500 kilometers per hour. Okay, but you cannot go simply because there will be traffic signals, traffic lights, turning points, speed breakers, and all that. Correct. So the point is, now when I'm practically, like tomorrow again in the morning, I have to go to the city. So when I'm driving, the average speed will be around 60 to 70 kilometers per hour. I actually drive very fast in general. So basically, the average velocity, average speed I will be driving will be around, say, 60. Okay. Now the point is, so the reason it will be 60 kilometers per hour is because you are essentially getting the scattering phenomenon. You have to um, like you will have to turn at ends, and then basically, you know why. In fact, within bits also, they have foolishly put like every 50 meters there is now a speed breaker. Awesome. So now the point is, so the it doesn't matter what is your maximum velocity is. What matters is what how many speed breakers you have got. So these scattering phenomena are the speed breakers. Now, in case of a ballistic transport, you do not have the speed breakers. So literally, I should be technically able to drive my car at 250 kilometers per hour. If you have a Ferrari, you should be able to drive at 500 kilometers per hour. So what is the maximum velocity possible? Velocity of light. So theoretically, in a ballistic transport, you are theoretically, it's possible, since you have not got any scattering phenomenon there. So it's theoretically, it is possible that the electrons will be flowing from the source to the drain at the velocity of light. Then the question is, that's again not possible, right? So what is the limiting factor over there? The channel length itself. It is only 5 nanometers, right? So once the electrons are injected inside the channel region from the source, before it reaches like speed of velocity of light, it is going to reach drain. Okay. So that is a deterrent. Anyway, so now for ballistic transport, we have to consider this over here. VDR SAT will be infinity. I'm not going to think about VDR SAT as 10 power 7 or 10 power 6 or something. It can be very high. So there is no limit. So that means theoretically it's kind of unlimited drift saturation velocity in case of ballistic transport. Second thing is that you are also going to have capital L equal very tending towards zero, much tending towards zero. So when you apply these two conditions in this equation, what is the case? Notice capital L is tending towards zero. VDR SAT is tending towards infinity. Okay. So under this condition, what you will observe is that capital L, if it is tending towards zero, okay, but VDR SAT is tending towards infinity. So there is 0 into infinity over here. Okay. So this whole factor, but again, VDR SAT will be limited. Why? Because it is never going to reach infinity because of the capital L being equal to 0. VDR SAT कभी अब infinity नहीं बिठा सकता because it will be limited by the channel length. So if channel length is tending towards 0, this whole factor here L 0 जा रहा है. So that means mu n by L goes to infinity. So this whole factor goes to infinity. So VD SAT becomes equal to 0. So what does it imply? जब भी आपने voltage डाला, the device is in saturation only. What is VDSAT? VDSAT was the linear saturation boundary, right? It was the pinch off voltage. So that means the device is always at pinch off. तो यानी कि ballistic transport में you cannot have any ohmic region. Okay, but is it true? Let's understand from the IDSAT expression. IDSAT is again this equation. I have again copied it here. And I'm going to apply the same limits. L tends to 0, VDSAT tends to infinity. So again, if L is tending towards 0, what will happen? Okay. Notice L tends towards 0. That means this whole factor becomes infinity, infinity. Now this root over term, that means this entire root over term is going to be infinity for both numerator and denominator, which is obviously much greater than -1 and +1. So that means these two will cancel. Okay, so you will be left with only the prefactor. So W, COX, VDSAT into VOV. So what do we understand here is something very interesting. It simply means that your IDSAT, it simply means that your IDSAT is proportional to VOV. Okay. In case of long channel, what did we notice? ID was proportional to VOV in which region?
Saturation.
Hey,
Sir, linear.
linear, correct? So now what we are understanding is that even though in ballistic transport, we are actually, the device is always operating in the saturation region. However, the saturation current will behave like a linear one. Getting me? Right? So this is very important, very, very crucial. So once you are going into lower and lower technology nodes, your IDSAT ceases to be like VOV square proportional to VOV square, that parabolic relationship which we had like this, IDSAT proportional to VOV square breaks down. So that means although your device is still operating in the like a saturation region operation, but even then your IDSAT continues to be proportional to VOV. Okay. However, another very, very important thing to understand is there is no channel length dependence. So in long channel case, we had seen mu n COX W by L VOV minus M by 2 VDS into VDS, right? So for low VDS values, you will be left with only this. So what we understand is ID is proportional to VOV. That is all right. And ID was also proportional to VDS. यहाँ पर VDS का कोई influence रहता ही नहीं है. And moreover, there is no dependence on capital L also. Okay. So these are the vital differences. Questions? Yeah.
So VDR SAT is dependent on L only, right? I mean,
Which
there
one?
is some dependence VDR SAT, sir, in this equation.
Yeah, here.
The drift velocity, sir, saturated drift velocity, that is dependent on length.
Well, what happens is over here, the VDR SAT is what we will say is, I mean, this VDR SAT is essentially, it will become very high, of course, but it is not exactly related to the channel length L as such. It will essentially be dependent on the material properties. Okay. In fact, as we had seen previously, in the last lecture I had shown, no? FC is equal to, just let me show it here. Look at this. FC is equal to this relation. So VDR SAT is a function of the material property FC and the material property mu(n). Okay. The only thing is that the velocity will not be, this VDR_SAT will not be limited to this FC. So what I'm suggesting is that this FC is going to shift more and more towards the right side. When we are going into the ballistic regime, FC will be shifting like this. So basically in ballistic regime, the device starts operating like a metal. The material semiconductor starts behaving like a metal. That means there is no scattering on. Okay. Of course, in case of a metal, there is scattering, but the scattering is so low that the resistance is very low. So in case of semiconductors, it starts behaving like a superconductor, let us say. So the FC essentially shifts more and more towards the right side. So it will still continue to be like the VDR_SAT. But the only thing is that the VDR_SAT ka jo limit hai na, this limit will be increased finally. Got it, Ashok?
Yes.
Yeah. So VDR_SAT is always a property of the material. So we cannot essentially put a value to that with the respect to, with the help of the channel length. Okay. So that's all for today. In our next lecture, I'll see probably some, performance factors of CMOS is something which we'll investigate. Okay. Thank you.